The second night of a curfew has resumed in parts of downtown Los Angeles amid days of protests over US President Donald Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. LA's mayor says the curfew is likely to remain in place for as long as is needed. The lockdown runs from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. and covers 2.5 square kilometres of downtown LA, a city which spans some 1,200 square kilometres. Officials say it is necessary for stopping vandalism and theft. Now, ahead of the curfew, police on horseback cleared crowds in front of the LA City Hall. More than 400 people have been arrested since demonstrations began on Saturday, following a new wave of raids targeting migrants. Protests have also been held in other cities, including Chicago, New York and San Antonio. All right, let's get the very latest from DW's Benjamin Alvarez-Gruber, who's in LA. Benjamin, describe the atmosphere in the city for us right now.
So here in downtown LA, in this area that is under a curfew, the situation is calm. You just mentioned those officers on horseback. We also saw them rounding out those protesters that were still close to the City Hall area. They were rounded up, they were detained. There was also a heavy police presence over there. They then started moving around and asking for IDs of those who are in this area. This is the second night of curfew, as you mentioned. It goes from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. and it was praised already by authorities. One of them by Mayor Karen Bass, who said that there were detentions yesterday, but not for vandalism or for looting, but for not dispersing and for violating this curfew. Also a stark contrast to the scenes that we saw here in Los Angeles in the last days.
OK, so we're seeing police officers, we're seeing officers on horseback inside the city. We're hearing also that US Marines are on standby outside of LA. Are they likely to also be deployed in the city?
That's right. That's one of the questions that we've heard over and over again, not only from protesters, but also those who are not active in these protests, protesting those raids, is where are the Marines? What will they do? Are they being trained? Are they already here? What we've heard from US Northern Command is that they are currently being trained in law enforcement tasks outside of the city. And also a number that US Northern Command confirmed is that in the next 48 hours, they will join all of the other police forces that are currently doing the law enforcement work. So we have LAPD, the Los Angeles Police Department. Then we also have the California National Guard, members of the California National Guard. Then DHS, or the Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection. So there are several units here working on law enforcement tasks. And the LAPD confirmed that having active duty US Marines here helping them with the task is also a logistical issue. It's an additional problem for them to try to coordinate all of these forces. So we expect to see some US Marines patrolling also together with LAPD and with the California National Guard in the next 48 hours, according to the US Northern Command.
And let's just talk about, again, what these protesters are focused on. Is this mainly about the ICE raids?
That's how it started on Saturday morning, with these ICE raids carried on in the southern part of Los Angeles in a predominantly Latino neighborhood where many people started also gathering there after several pictures and videos also were shared on social media. But it kind of started growing, seeing the rhetoric from Washington, seeing the way they are treating protesters, the way they are attacking those who are waving Mexican flags, flags from Guatemala, from Nicaragua, from El Salvador, so Central American countries, by calling them un-American and patriotic, saying that they are professionals that are actually also protesting, going out to the streets together. So it's on one side criticizing the immigration rates, but also a stark discontent and anger. But what President Trump is in the downtown area are directed against ICE, but also against the president.
And Benjamin, is this nighttime curfew now likely to be extended in the coming days?
It is likely to be extended, and the mayor also said that it's important for law enforcement to be able to do that work during the night. There was huge criticism. There is still huge criticism. The mayor also gave a press conference, once again accusing President Trump, accusing the Trump administration of trying to escalate the situation here. That's something that we've heard from the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, but also from the Democratic governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who said that LAPD, the police department here in Los Angeles, had the situation under control, but by sending even more of these National Guards and also sending Marines, they're accusing them of escalating that, of using this. And it's very symbolic that what is happening here in Los Angeles, considering the fear that many in the Latino community have here in the city, where according to estimates more than 800,000 undocumented migrants live. But we have seen this protest spreading to several cities across the country, from Chicago, from New York, from Texas also, where the government decided to deploy the National Guard. But there was his decision, not like in the case of California, where Governor Newsom was against having the California National Guard here on the streets, but President Trump decided against it anyways, and now the state of California is suing the Trump administration, calling this move illegal.
Benjamin, thanks so much for bringing us up to date. That's DW's Benjamin Alvarez-Gruber reporting from Los Angeles.